The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
When was the last time you had really good Texas-style barbecue? Eric's Family Barbecue, the way it's supposed to taste. Always delicious, never rushed, and prepared to perfection. Eric's Family Barbecue uses only 100% fresh meat, slowly smoked over mesquite wood until it's juicy and delicious. We all know their brisket is the best, but have you tried their pulled pork ribs, or rib tips? Amazing, and their sides are all house-made. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip. You won't be sorry. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more information.
It's something. Check out Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast at 98kupd.com.
Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Monday. It is 5:45. This is the Morning Sickness. My name's John Holmberg. There's Brady Bogan. That chair is empty. We've had that problem before. Big Dick Toledo's here. Brett's not here this week. He had to do family stuff with his mom.
Collections in Chicago.
Yeah, you know how it is when your mom needs you. You go to your mother. Yeah, he had to go with his mom back to Chicago for a family event. I don't know what that means. I ain't asking. He does what he does. That's good by me. In fact, we're supposed to be on vacation this week. This was our fall break, but poorly timed it. To where and Brady actually scheduled a vacation on the wrong week.
Yep.
Which is better. I've done that before. And then, the whole surgery thing, plus money were given away, and things got shifted, and we just, you know what, screw that. We don't need that time. We're good. Life is a vacation if you make it one. But Bert already had his plans, and this is a pretty big family thing. And again, never, ever, ever when an Italian says, I got a family event back in Chicago, I can't. You let them go to that. That's pretty much
you make the list if you turn it down.
You'll let them go to that. And speaking of Italians, the only thing I've been excited for, it's been 49, but 38 years. But the only thing I've actually had physical and happiness and excitement for beyond, sports in the world of entertainment, where I wanted to see a movie. I had high hopes for something. And I always say that. I'm like, everybody thinks that movies are – there hasn't been a good movie, a truly good, memorable, classic movie, and it's been a long time. All these Marvel movies come and go. They're not – 10 years from now, you're not going to remember or quote or do anything. There's a couple that have come out that are like, meh. But for the most part, we've been a vapid landscape of it comes and goes kind of movies. And I got excited for The Many Saints of Newark, as you knew, last week, talking about it like crazy.
Yep.
Sat on Friday. Ready to go after the big long wait. You guys all did the exact same thing. Plopped down. I had friends go to the theater. There is a scene in the movie where there's a poetry jam with African Americans that my friend said that the theater he went to had people in it laughing at the very inappropriate wake up N-words part. And he said, you could hear a pin drop because there was somebody who just couldn't hear that word out loud. That's how childish we are.
Right.
Because we've banned so many words that when you do hear it, somebody's going to giggle, and then, there's potential for a theater shooting. So he's like, it got nervous in there because there was a lady in there just laughing and laughing and laughing and trying to hold it back, which made it worse. But The Many Saints of Newark, to me, and I got a lot of people say, what do you, I think Friday's record-breaking text.
What do you think?
What do you think? What, have you seen it yet? What did you think? We're going back and forth between me and about 50 people. What did I think? It's a series premiere. This, to me, planted 9 storylines, didn't finish one, and they basically are going to try a new series. If they don't, it's a bad movie. If that was a movie, it had no purpose. It was totally unnecessary. It didn't have an ending.
It was complete for me. It was flat.
I'm a massive Sopranos fan.
Yep.
So when they started in with Olivia and her, the oh poor you and the Junior's classic, and they threw it away, which was great because they hit it where it's like doesn't have the physical stature of a varsity athlete, which was a huge thing. Tony heard him say once that almost caused just a complete beatdown at dinner. Just throwing in little bits and pieces of the show back in just for nostalgia's sake. But for the most part, walk away like you do with most things in your adult life, wildly disappointed that you ever got a high bar for it, that you ever got your hopes up. It's a lesson in life, kids. Getting your hopes up is inevitably, the more you age, just an awful process because you're like, oh, I really wanted that to be something. I'm disappointed again. It wasn't terrible, but it just if it's a movie like they keep saying,
yeah,
at best you got a little, that kid that he looks a little like his dad.
Good job on showing he's related to the guy in the character.
I got the timeline, and
I can see the.
Dickie Moltisanti's an interesting thing if you're a Sopranos fan because that's all they talked about for years was why Tony was. But I didn't really get any relationship from Tony and Dickie Moltisanti. I really enjoyed Dickie Moltisanti's dad's Gumar turning into his Gumar was kind of an interesting thing. And then when she nailed that black guy, I liked seeing her naked. That was fine. That's fun.
Not worried about spoilers so much.
No, there's nothing to spoil other than like the next episode might have something to do with the war now between the Italians and the blacks. That's all I got.
Whacking that happens.
Oh, there's a couple great That's the only
probably
spoiler.
The best thing.
Yeah, and who did it, which is the crazy part. But it's and then the whole civil rights thing's in there, and it didn't seem to be in place. It was just odd. So, again, lesson learned. Never get your hopes up, ever. The only thing you can do is disappoint yourself. And I knew that. I even said it last week. I'm setting a low bar. I don't want much from this. But and why lie to the general public that this was a one-off? Clearly, this is not a one-off. They've left even at the end when they're tipping caps to each other, and you're like, okay, this is a problem that needs to be resolved. Are we doing that in another movie, or what's going to happen? I don't know.
When is this happening?
Yeah, when does this go down? Or is this how you leave us? Because this was totally unnecessary. The same way El Camino for Breaking Bad was unnecessary, but okay. That's what this was. If you're a Sopranos fan and you haven't seen it yet, you're not much of a Sopranos fan, so don't bother. Just leave it at that. Because if you were like a super fan like I was, and back to it like you would have had you been a super fan,
it doesn't capture
it doesn't
the
do
same.
anything. It doesn't do anything. It's a bowl of vanilla ice cream. Sure, it's pleasant. But you've had it before. Nothing special.
Not much of the member berries from the series. I mean, other than,
Ed O'Brien emails and he said, come on, John, blind baseball was hilarious. That was funny. And it's a real thing. I got to be part of blind baseball once. It was a long time. I was in the crowd. I wasn't I used to do a thing for Sunscape, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Where they read the newspaper to blind people. And I used to do that. I did it 2 or 3 times. The lady loved me. She's like, my goodness, you. And they made me, I've told this before, they made me read the comics page because I could do voices. And I was making up my own. I don't know what Kathy's supposed to sound like or her boss, or I don't know what that's supposed to be, but I was, say, boss, this stapler sure is strange. And she's like, oh, we just love you here, John. Can you come again? I was reading the goddamn newspaper for the first time in my life at age 20. My dad always was like, you got to read, you got to understand the newspaper. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll never read a newspaper. Then I'm doing it for charity work. I didn't have a job and I was doing charity work. They paid me a couple bucks. But they had a blind baseball event that they kept talking about. And I never knew what that was. And I went to go watch. It is, the one I saw was on a tee. The one in Sopranos, they were actually pitching a ball with a beeper.
Yeah.
The one they were on a tee.
T-ball.
And some sighted person basically torqued the spike or torqued the spine of a blind person. I just remember that the blind guy stood there kind of noodly, like, all right. And he says, relax. And they'd reach around, not like that, the kid and grab the bat and then just violently torque the blind kid and hit the ball. And then somebody would stand next to the ball and ring a bell. Because it never went much further than like 7 feet. Nobody ever tagged one. It was sighted people dragging blind people around a field or ringing a bell where the ball was, and then a blind kid would run over and just start patting at the earth, and then he'd find the ball, and
they're
then
on the ground. Yeah,
no kidding. They didn't care that the blind people. I never told this before. This is a great story too. Because I lasted about 30 minutes. The blind kid would get it and then just throw it as far as he could, whatever direction he was facing, and the ding 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 ding. Another
listen for anything.
Another volunteer had a bell
wherever you.
And they ran, they had bells to where you're supposed to throw and bells when you got it. But a lot of times there was only like 3 volunteers. The bells weren't in the right spot. So he's still remembering the last bell where the ball was. So he just throws it that direction. No, ding, 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 ding. And then you chase that bell around. I'm like, this is kind of mean. But they seem to be enjoying it. And then there was one kid who could kind of see, and he didn't need a helper at the plate.
Well,
he got hold of one.
Did you see that? That's why they did that in the Olympics. They make them wear the masks.
Yeah.
That blind.
Because some of them see a little bit shapes and colors better.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed with the guide keeping up with the blind people in the Olympics. They got a dude running just as fast as those Olympians. Mm-hmm. Do they get a medal too?
They should.
Sure.
Coaching award.
You got that blind anchor you're dragging around.
Right. I could really be something if it wasn't for you.
I just remember thinking, I should have gotten some names and numbers back then. I wasn't a forward thinker, but see what kind of spinal injuries we got going on with those blind people. I mean, there was some overzealous people trying to get that ball off that tee and put one out into the outfield. And
I'd always heard that one time, other than the bells, they used to put it in the actual ball.
That's what they did in The Sopranos. They had a beep.
Yeah.
They had a beeper in the ball.
That's what I thought.
This place did not.
Huh.
They helped them hit off a tee and then rang bells as the ball trickled. Maybe 3 to 5 people got it past the pitcher's mound.
Nobody got it in the air?
Not that I remember. Well, the kid that didn't have, he could see. He put one, line shot, but it was still low. And I mean, it's dangerous at that point.
I was going to say, isn't this
like a
just
comebacker
dangerous?
is not. Yeah, you can't get that bell going fast enough for the pitcher to get down. But
Yeah.
nobody was hitting it hard enough. And I think that's what they worry about with that beeper ball.
That you can really
It's that you
throw
can
one.
accidentally just throw one right back into the mug of that ball. What was he got? At least he never saw it coming, right?
More anxiety for the players.
Yeah. But blind baseball, all right, Ed, you're right. Blind baseball is something that, that's pretty funny. But
Man.
I did. That was Sunscapes 25 years ago, at least. It was like 95, so, 26
And they're
years
playing, that was pretty primitive because according to The Sopranos.
That's the 60s.
That was in
They
the
had the
60s.
bell and the beeper in the ball. And I was watching it, and I saw that ball, and they go slow-mo on the ball in the Sopranos movie, and it's got that little speaker on it. I'm like, no kidding. That's, boy,
I'd have to timeline that.
could you Nobel technology at the game I was at. And they played on an entire dirt field. They didn't even give them grass. I mean, they didn't even get the benefits of a fresh-cut infield.
They were told it was a fresh cut
Right.
infield and
Smells
everything
like
was
dirt.
luxurious.
It's not. You should see this place. I mean, I hasten to say that to all you guys, but this is beautiful. Anyway, put it in your minds that you're on the...
Don't go over there. That's where the green monster is.
In the car, they had a guy sitting next to him going... And then 2 hours later told him they were in Chicago. We're going to play at Wrigley.
We're here.
Just drove him around the block 100 times. Am I flying? Oh, yeah. That's what planes sound like? As far as you know.
Reach out. Feel that. There's the ivory.
Yeah. Ivory.
I mean,
It's a wall of soap. An elephant tusk. Man, that's a stadium cost. The wall
That
of
is a hard
ivory.
cost we didn't-
You're going to lose a couple players on that.
Sorry
thing, too.
about that. That's a
Holy
different
Moses.
wall.
Like you said, Mr. Wrigley, a wall of ivory. No, damn it. Said ivy. Oh, boy.
You dummy.
This was a $20 million error in the
you know
early...
how long it took me to put this wall up?
You know how many elephants died? Oh, sir, I'm so sorry. A wall of ivory. God damn it. Now, what about my waterfall of ivy? Oh, you're going to be disappointed.
Sure, we got a little problem.
Anyway, so The Sopranos, the ultimate disappointment. Then the weekend goes to completely disappoint me because I knew this going into the season. The Steelers weren't going to be very good. I thought their defense was going to be great, which it's pretty good, but they're just not a good team. So I tempered expectation there. But Cardinal fans, the reason I bring up The Sopranos and not to get your hopes up too high, don't do it. Don't do it to yourselves. Just don't. Although, hey, here's another thing.
Deja vu from last year, doesn't it?
Cardinal fan, I like you. I like watching the city be happy. When the Suns were crazy, I thought it was great. And I think it's kind of neat that if the Suns do great and the Cardinals have a great year at the same time, it lifts the spirit of the entire city, which is phenomenal. But let me tell you this. As an outsider looking in on your sport, and I will never poach your team, you can say, John, you live here, you should support them. No, I think the opposite. I never supported them in the past. I'm not going to poach them when they're good. I'm not going to pretend to. I still don't like the Cardinals. Don't talk about power rankings, Cardinal fans, at all, ever. I've heard it 3 times already on the news, once on the radio, and once in an email exchange or a text exchange with about 12 people where one guy's like, by Monday, the Cardinals will be number 1 power ranking. Like, oh, okay, here's a little tidbit of fun for you. The Steelers were 5 in the power rankings 2 weeks ago. They're going to be like 23rd. Those power rankings mean nothing. Don't.
Tampa Tom last year was like 10th in the power rankings.
Steelers were number one
entering the playoffs.
Power ranking for 11 weeks because they were 11-0, and they were a weird 11-0, but they were an 11-0. And then all of a sudden, like, they're the worst team in football. Come on. Don't do that to yourself. That power ranking thing is the worst thing for fantasy sports football analysis.
It's just a talking point.
It's a TV show. They got to fill an hour a week on ESPN and on NFL Network. So, yes, it's neat, but it's only disappointing when you have that hiccup game that you will have to make it so you're not the best team in football. I will say they made that look easy yesterday, and that was impressive. Against the Rams in L.A., and they top to bottom, start to finish. And, again, like I said last week, I think Cliff Kingsbury had a lot to do with the game plan. If it wasn't for – if Cliff can't make it a fingers-crossed offense, that's what it seemed to have been all year, and goes in – man, Kyler was in the pocket. He was passing. The plays were crisp. That team played a great game yesterday, and they are legit. Yeah. That legitimized them. Beating the Rams as soundly and as easily as they did, and, again – the Rams were number one in the power ranking last week. Yep. You gotta. That's a win.
Good win.
That is a big win.
Now
Huge
you
win.
Build on it.
Gigantic win. Yeah, you can't have a letdown. Now I don't know who they have this week, but I like Kyler Murray's quote at the end. He goes, "Every game's big." You can't just go in and say this is the only one. He's absolutely right. So well played. Nice job, Cardinal fan.
Playing for Cliff.
Yeah, and Cliff. Look, playing for Cliff and Kime and all those guys that are, this is it. But Cliff had a game plan yesterday, and it worked. And I've been kind of down on Cliff saying I'm not so sure it's coaching over the fact you've got a little magician at quarterback that can take your cruddy play and make it something special and pull you right off the meat hook. Cliff Kingsbury's been on the meat hook several times this year. It's like, my God, what were they thinking? And Kyler Murray made magic out of it. So,
Niners come to town this weekend with Trey Lance.
Another good game, and Trey Lance is starting.
I was with you, man. After the first quarter of my game, I was like, all right, well, that's it. The Russell Wilson era is over. That's done.
You just want to throw the towel in.
I'm ready.
And they won.
I'm ready. And they play 3 quarters of great ball.
Yeah, you'll see.
Jesus.
They're fine. They're not Cardinal good. That Cardinal team is...
God, no. I have no delusions this year.
They...
not in this division.
Watching the Rams last week, I'm like,
that division looked just
this is it,
nasty.
Man. This is the team to beat.
Now the Rams go to Seattle off of that loss.
On a Thursday.
On
the road. Yep. So there's a chance the Cardinals could bounce up. This is a good day for Cardinal fans. And ASU beat UCLA. So beat LA. LA. Come on, everybody, settle down. UCLA sucks. But, it was a pretty good weekend. Oh, yeah. Oh, Brady. The biggest news for sports in this city, I forgot. Well, there's 2. The Diamondbacks had a season walk-off. By the way, had I placed a bet with Doug Hopkins the week I met him, and he may not remember this, but the week I met Doug was back in late March, early April. Season was just about to start. Baseball. I think it had just started. I'm talking about baseball. He's like, yeah, I'm a Diamondbacks, this, that, season tickets, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I love it. Folks go to every game. I'm like, no kidding. It was going to be a rough year. And I'm like, over, under on losses. And he goes, we could surprise some people. And he started, I said, 111. Over, under. And he goes, you think they're going to lose 111 games? I'm like, I think they're going to lose 117. I said, the over, under is 111.
Right.
It's 110. Doug should have taken that bet.
So you were going the over.
Oh, I would have gone crazy over. Yeah. I thought that team was going to lose 150 times this year. Looking at the roster, like, where do they find a win?
Mad Bum was there, John.
Mad Bum can win 3 games. I was giving them 17, 18 wins. They were horrible, but they had a big win to go 52-110, just under my mark of 111, like they heard me, bastards. And then, of course, the WNBA playoffs are going on. I got to tell the city that. I mean,
surprised we didn't lead with it.
And we all know exactly, Brady. I feel bad not putting the headline first, but I mean, it's almost. I feel like people have just talked themselves silly about it. So it's almost like we're wasting everyone's time. Like I can bring you more information you don't already know or seek out yourself for WNBA playoff hoops. The Merc, you knew who their opponent was this weekend, right?
Yeah,
you were on it.
Yeah,
the team,
great team, tough.
Well, yeah, they're a WNBA team. That's all of them.
Fast breaking machines.
You guys know everybody. Don't play. I know you're just playing around.
Back east, the team back east.
You guys, it's a Western Conference playoff. You guys are just screwing around.
Wait a minute. There's another series going on besides this one?
We have to cover this? I mean...
all right. Look, everybody knows it was the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
Did they win?
Well, I'll tell you this. The Mercury shot 44%.
Without saying anything.
I'll tell you what. The Mercury were out of the field. Good. Ed and Candace Parker led aces. They were there, too. I told you a team in the playoffs shot 44%.
They went off.
44%, 28% from three, and had 12 turnovers in 40 minutes. How much do you think they won by?
It's a recipe for success, Boom.
27-point victory.
Shut up.
Yeah, they won 87-60.
The only reason I know Candace Parker is because they've been playing the crap out of her ass.
And they forced Kyrie Irving after his terrible behavior through, or is it Jalen Rose or Kyrie Irving? One of them's in there, but he's been a dick his whole career. And they're like, you have to do a WNBA ads and act like you care. And so, yeah, Candace Parker's in there. Yeah, 44% shooting.
Dominated.
12 turnovers. And they won by 27. That's not even competitive.
They went off shooting 44%.
That's how good the league is. They didn't even have to try that hard, and they crush it. So, yeah, we all knew. I know Cardinal fans, you guys are like, yeah, that's nice. That's regular season action. We're looking at a potential championship down there in Merktown, USA, as I like to call it. I don't call it that. Oh, and all the Mercury players were there. They had that Diana lady, and then the big Griner type one, and then the others, and the rest. Oh, Mercury basketball.
Squad goes deep.
And also, got to remember, if you were driving around looking for the big game, and you went down to the home of the Phoenix Mercury, the Footprints. They weren't there. Disney on Ice is there, so they can't play. So they had to go over to ASU. We're going to fill that up. Hey, failure.
I thought they were going to GCU.
Well, they did GCU, but GCU had like a play.
No.
They were doing Oklahoma.
We've got Hamilton.
They want to.
They did Oklahoma.
They want to expand around the city. Let other people, because some people, in that area in Tempe might not be able to make it.
There's a lot of crippled lesbians that can't make the trip downtown, so you go East Valley, West Valley. It's smart. That's marketing 101. Like we said, the mobile court last week. If they just started setting up where people were, they could claim bigger crowds. Actually, it was a Hamilton rehearsal. So they're doing that at GCU's stadium, and they needed the entire basketball court. More important things abound. Anyway, WNBA action. Catch it. I think the next game is soon. Yeah.
You'll know.
Did you see that Chris Paul bought a bunch of playoff tickets? This was the best thing I've seen on the news. I don't remember. He bought
500.
That's a bunch. That's a huge crowd,
that's
Richard.
A lot.
And then he gave them away.
He bought 1,000 for his own series.
I know, because people go to
They've all done it.
I bought 30 tickets for every game and sold every one of them.
That's part of the point guard for the Suns. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. But
1,000 tickets was like 5 times more than his 500 tickets.
500 tickets he got for free from the Mercury. Said, please, Chris Paul, people pay attention to you. And he gave them away.
Give us something for the 500.
They said he bought them.
Yeah.
Chris Paul did not spend $600 on those tickets. It's just a waste. He's good with his money. He's a smart man. Unless State Farm kicked in and gave him some dough. Maybe Jake and said, here's 500 tickets. And then Chris Paul went to give them away. And then they interviewed one of the players on the Mercury. We're going to sell this place out. It's going to be packed based on the 500 head start that Chris was giving people for free. Hilarious. Your sport is a joke and remains so. Continue doing it exactly the same way, and I will continue to ridicule it as it deserves to be. God, I hate that game. Ugh. Anyway, what are you going to do? As a Steeler fan, it was a rough weekend. And I'm already starting to see my Steeler friends' true colors.
They're fading?
Oh, they're fading. And fast. Anthony and Casey. Attendance was like 5 yesterday. There was nobody there. I'm shutting this thing down. My buddy Rick showed up. JD was in California, a couple other people. But
hold on. So
the normal 15 to 20.
Did you not have catering like you did last week?
We did.
Tremendous wings?
Pat's Pizza. Well, that's what I'm starting to wonder. They might have got a little spoiled. We got a regular Pat's Pizza.
Set the bar.
Yeah, the bar's been tied.
Do you announce what the food is ahead of time?
Well, I did. Well, no, but I did with Rick, and he showed up.
Oh, he spread the word.
But Rick always Rick's a guy who goes home with the full platter.
What do you mean?
Like we're like, take the leftovers. Rick will leave with the family style.
Gotcha.
Like most people will make a plate. Like, thanks, or take a couple pieces. Rick rides a motorcycle. We have to get bungee straps and like all sorts of stuff for Rick's to go back. Yeah, Rick,
he doesn't come prepared.
Bring it. He needs to put a wood crate on the back.
We had 3 pizzas yesterday, and we had like a whole one left at the end. I'm like, Rick, take what you want. He's like, take the whole pizza. We don't care. So Rick's like,
how does that look?
I'm going to need a bag. I'm like, what? And it's like, well, I can't just. I'm like, why don't you just carry it like the guy on the box? Just put it on your hand and slow roll the motorcycle home. And Rick was like, so we had to bag up pizza, like wrap it and bag it, and then strap it to that big, what are that, any which way you can thing for the back seat. He's got that big, like, I don't know.
Sissy bar almost.
Is that a sissy bar? Is that I've never known what a sissy bar is. Like the big loopy U.
Isn't that the mama safety?
Mama safety. It's keep a mama from a tumbler. Yeah.
Seat thing, but was it just a metal rod?
Yeah. That's called a sissy bar?
I think so.
Okay. He was going to strap it. So he had pizza strapped to the sissy bar.
I don't know if you can call that anymore, if that's appropriate.
Oh, okay. It's the homo bar. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. You don't want to call it that.
The twink bar.
Yeah, it's your big bar. I got it. I call it a BS West bar. Because it's a gay bar. Anyway. It was, and I'm texting him like, are you guys, and my buddy Phil, got too drunk last night. I'm going to watch this one at home because it's on CBS. And I'm like, you bastard. So the pizza's on the way. Tripp was there. My buddy Chris, a couple other people showed up. It was a small group, and rightfully so. The team's not worth watching. But that's all right. One down year and 50 isn't so bad. We'll get a good draft pick and be back next year. So enjoy it. Kick the prom queen while she's down because it'll be long. Let's get a wake-up song, shall we? A good one to start off this day. Cardinal fans, you got to be flying high. But again, anybody who mentions the power rankings is an automatic douchebag. You should. They had dunce caps in the 50s and 60s. We should have a douche cap for anybody who says power rankings. Today, Toledo, you and I will walk down to the sales department.
Oh, God.
I'm going to write 2 names down right now. We can't reveal them. I know who's going to mention power rankings.
Yep, I can see
I know who's going to mention it. You're going to be number 1 in the power rankings. And one of them has a painting of Kyler Murray in his office.
Yep.
Joseph. So I'm not going to mention names.
Excited. He'll be excited.
Right, but you're going to bring up power rankings, and I'm going to laugh at you.
Yeah, how many minutes into it?
It'll be
as soon as he sees John.
Well, see, now I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up. Like, hey,
Are you going to bait him?
Your little Webster poster's starting to look pretty sharp, right? Huh? Yeah, I know. I'm like, that was a good game yesterday. Played, tip the cap. That's a solid squad. Maybe number 1 power rankings. That's what it's going to be the first. Like, it's the first brag that's coming out of a Cardinal fan's mouth. Don't do it. That's the most useless thing I've ever heard in my life.
Have they ever gotten it before?
No, they've never been number 1 in power rankings.
Yeah.
No.
You don't want it in week 4. You want it.
Not even the year they went 13-3.
You know, the only power ranking when you're number 1 that matters is in February.
Right.
It doesn't really matter that you were power ranked 1 in week 4.
All that sets you up for is disappointment.
Right. And you're going to lose a game and you're going to fall off. But in February, the power.
I don't know. Fly those banners this week, man. You're number 1 power ranking.
Yeah. I don't know. Do they give you a trophy
in front
for
of businesses?
Oh, yeah.
Do you pass that banner around? Is that what you're saying? So next
or
week,
you can. Everyone just get one.
Cardinal fans would, because they still celebrate coming in second place in the Super Bowl they were in. I've seen license plates with SB43. Yeah. It's what? That's not your Super Bowl. We were in it. Hey, you lost. That's not the one you celebrate. Give us a wake-up song. 585-9800. A good one. And we'll scream it together. It's 98. Wake up!
Big Red Badass.
What? What did you just say?
Badass. 98 KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Eric'sFamilyBBQ.com.